Welcome to Global Rhythms Live, World Music and Dance Digital Concert Series presented by Ensemble Topaz.
Hi everyone. It's with great joy that we welcome you to the 10th edition of Global Rhythms Live World Music and Dance Digital Concert, where we feature diverse performances by artists practicing different forms and genres of world music, dance, and performance traditions from around the world. I'm Paromita, co-artistic director and choreographer of Ensemble Topaz, a Toronto-based integrated dance and music ensemble, and it's my great joy and honor, along with Mike Anklewicz, to present to you this week's edition of Global Rhythms Live. Joining me in the studio is Mike Anklewicz, musician, composer, and music director for Ensemble Topaz, as well as several other projects. And he is also faculty member at Royal Conservatory of Music here in Toronto. He is also our managing technical director for Global Rhythms Live.
And that means I push all the buttons. And thank you for joining us today. Thank everybody. We want to thank our performers, everybody watching in the audience. To us, in many ways, this concert series keeps alive our tradition of performing as performing artists in live art forms. The ability to perform to an audience, which is so often a part of our everyday lives as artists, that really has been taken away for the foreseeable future in the COVID world. We started the series to be able to continue to perform for audiences, but also to share a bit of the artistic journey of the people that we're presenting as well as their performances. So we'd also like to direct your attention to the GoFundMe campaign that we have the link to listed just up there. And if you go there, and please donate to supporting the artists. All the money goes to supporting our artists. And you'll feel good about supporting live arts in the only way that we really have to do right now. And your support helps keep everybody going. And we also like to direct your attention that if you are joining us on Facebook, there are captions that are automatically generated underneath at the bottom of the screen there, and you can turn them off. You just have to go to the settings and turn off captions. So you have that option available to you. Now I'll turn it over to Paromita to introduce our first performer.
Perfect. So our first performer for today is Jaicyea. We are very honored to have her with us. Jaicyea is a professionally trained, versatile belly dancer from the city of Toronto. Her interest in belly dance was first sparked when she signed up for lessons at the Egyptian Dance Academy in 2009. Jaicyea expanded her knowledge by training with world-renowned instructors such as Nada Al-Masriya, Yasmina Ramzi, Abigail, Melissa Gamal, Emilia Moon, Sahar Samara, and Sadi Markat. She has blossomed from a recreational dancer to a successful performer and instructor participating in a variety of festivals, events, and music videos. Jaicyea regularly performs with the Toronto band Mosquito Bar and also organizes and hosts a recurring belly dance event in the city, Hip Kick Triptych. She's also the founder of Herbuda Belly, a series of belly dancing workshops for young women aged 10 to 14, addressing health, wellness, and body image issues in the Regent Park neighborhood. Jaicyea is part of this amazing new initiative called the Asmara Belly Dance Initiative to facilitate and find festivals that celebrate belly dancers of color in the diaspora. We will be sharing the link to this. If you could please donate to her GoFundMe and help with this project as well. It's a very much needed and relevant project today. So thank you so much, and here is the beautiful Jaicyea. So that was the beautiful Jaicyea dancing a beautiful, beautiful belly dance piece. So please welcome Jaicyea.
Hello.
Hi, very good to have you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so
And
much for having me.
thank you. And if you could tell us a little bit about this beautiful dance piece you just performed.
So I chose to go with a traditional Egyptian pop song today. I wanted to do something fun and upbeat and lively, and I threw in a drum solo at the end of that. So it's a mix of two songs.
Well, that's fantastic. So you have this beautiful journey into belly dance, and I wonder if you could share a little bit about your journey into dance in general and also into belly dance as well.
Well, I started belly dancing about 11 years ago at the Egyptian Dance Academy in Toronto. And it started out as a recreational hobby and grew into something very serious. I fell in love with the music, the culture, the costuming, the Arabic language, and I was hooked. So naturally, I went from being a student to a teacher and to now a performer.
Fantastic, fantastic. And within all these years, you've had a number of different projects ranging from your professional performances and also ranging to the work you do through dance for the community and different communities as well. So would you be able to tell us a little bit about, I guess, some of the work that you do in bringing belly dance to the community and to the wider community?
Thank you. It's a great question. So, when I first started belly dancing, I was seeing a lot of people of color in my classes, but I wasn't seeing them on the stages. I wasn't seeing them being represented um, in music videos, at competitions, and in the places where um, it matters most. So I decided to initiate something called her Buddha Belly, which was a 9-week belly dance intensive for young girls aged 9 to 14. And this project was funded by the Ontario Arts Council, which allowed me to pay women to come in as special guests to talk about the work that they do. So we had chefs, newscasters, sports athletes come in, talk to us about what they do, and then also lead us in a belly dance workshop together. So what this did was it opened the doors for these girls to explore the possibilities of not only dance but other careers that they could potentially pursue. And yeah, it's ongoing. I've had 3 sessions of her Buddha Belly in different communities across the city and the GTA. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the next installment.
That is fantastic. What a beautiful initiative and what a fabulous initiative that can actually change lives and through art. That's amazing. It's amazing, wonderful initiative. And during this time, you also have another very exciting project coming up, the Asmara project. Would you tell our audiences and us a little bit about this other project, which is also an extremely beautiful and very, very much needed initiative?
Thank you. So, Asmara Belly Dance Initiative is very, very dear to my heart. As you heard me explain earlier, that I didn't really see many dancers that looked like me being represented on a global scale. And I wasn't alone. There are many other Black belly dancers all over the world that have the same sentiments. And so instead of trying to fit into this mold or this ideal of what a belly dancer should be and how she should look, we decided to create our own and celebrate our inner and outer beauty as Black belly dancers by creating a festival made for and by us. So the Aspire Belly Dance Initiative is currently raising money And what the funds go towards is actually subsidizing travel costs and workshop expenses for people who wouldn't have otherwise had the chance to travel and dance.
Wonderful. And to our audiences, we will be sharing the link to the Asmara Bellydance project. Please support this project and please support its participants. It's a beautiful project and a beautiful and much needed initiative as well. And so, Jaicyea, coming back to you and your personal journey as an artist as well, as an artist that performs, tell us firstly about this very beautiful and interesting name.
Oh, wow, thank you. So my name is Jaicyea. That is actually my name. It's a combination of my mother and my father's name, Marcia and Jason. So they made me and they made that name. And to them, the name means love. So my name is original, and I choose to keep it because it's me.
That is so amazing and so unique. That's just absolutely incredible. So you've been doing amazing work in all sorts of venues and all sorts of and collaborating with artists from several different cultures. So tell us a little bit about some of your cross-cultural work as well, because you've explored different genres within Arabic music as well in your dancing. So tell us a little bit about that and your collaboration works.
Yeah, so maybe 5 years ago, I started actually busking with some djembe players, and we had an incredible experience doing that. I never would have anticipated the positive feedback that we received from, various festivals in the city. And so through that, performing, outside, we were meeting other musicians and other dancers, um, and over the years, I just grew my community and became very connected to many different musicians from many different genres. And one of the most exciting things that came out of that was the creation of Mosquito Bar, which is a Balkan, Arabic, Algerian, Middle Eastern, North African fusion of awesomeness that I love so much. And we literally met outside on the street playing music. And we all came together. And, it's been almost 3 years of my performing with them. And it has really changed my life. We perform at a venue called Drome Taberna in Toronto. And when Mosquito Bar plays, it's a sold out show and it brings people from all walks of life, all types of backgrounds, because the music is so eclectic and people really enjoy it. Then with the dance element, it allows me to be the faucet through which the music flows, connect with the people, and it's a really, really good time.
Wonderful. And it's those shows are absolutely incredible. And to our audiences, if you ever get a chance, please go watch. I mean, I know these are social distancing times now, but it's an absolutely wonderful, wonderful collection of artists, Mosquito Bar, and their shows are always fabulous. So, I guess we'll go into your next piece, but just if you could just give our audiences a little idea about what to expect in this upcoming, very exciting piece you have.
Thank you. So I chose to challenge myself today and go ahead and do a sagat or zills piece, which are finger cymbals.
Fantastic. So we look forward. Thank you so much, Jaicyea, for joining us. And we
This was so much fun. I had so much fun. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So thank you to Jaicyea for both the beautiful performances, and we will be sharing the link to the Asmara Bellydance initiative started by her and her colleagues as well. And please do donate if you can, and also please donate to our artists on the show today. It's your support that keeps these artists going at this time. And thank you so much.
And if you're joining us on Facebook, you can see in the comments of our video that we have posted that link that you can check out now. We also want to wish all the fathers out there a happy Father's Day. I know to my father, Larry, and to Paromita's father, Jayanta. Wherever you may be watching, all around the world, happy Father's Day to all of you, and have a wonderful Father's Day today. Now our next artist is Melanie Gall. Melanie Gall is an internationally acclaimed vocalist who has performed in Africa, South America, Asia, and the Caribbean. She has sung at Lincoln Center, Carnegie Hall, and has recently performed a Vera Lynn concert for the jazz series at Royal Albert Hall in England. Melanie has written and internationally toured several award-winning solo shows. These include Piaf and Brel, The Impossible Concert, about French chanteuse Edith Piaf, Opera Mouse, a children's introduction to opera, Red Hot Mama, a Sophie Tucker cabaret, and Stitch in Time, featuring the lost knitting music from World War I and World War II. Melanie is the leading expert on historic songs about knitting and spinning. She has collected, researched, and recorded several dozens of these songs and has lectured about this music at New York University and UCLA, as well as at conferences around the United States and Europe. So here is Melanie Gall performing some French songs, and then we'll get a chance to talk to her as well. And thank you for joining us. We're here with Melanie Gall, and we just heard her performing La Vie en Rose, a wonderful French song. And Melanie, could you, first of all, welcome, and can you please tell us a little bit about the song?
All right. Well, this is Edith Piaf's signature song. So when people hear it, it's been done by a lot of other people, including Louis Armstrong and even Lady Gaga. However, it was always Edith Piaf's signature song, and it's really just about how life is rosy. It's a metaphor, the color rose, for love and happiness, and how when you're in love, life is, when you're not, in Alberta for the rest of your life, life is rosy. Yeah.
So you are joining us from, I guess is it St. Albert, which is just outside of Edmonton. Can you tell us a little bit about growing up there and your connection with French music and your journey as a singer?
Sure. Well, we are broadcasting from my childhood bedroom. So it's a good thing as a musician, I never officially moved out. I did never figure I'd be living here again, but here we are because of COVID. So I grew up here. I went to French immersion, which is, Saint Albert was originally a French community. And it was amazing growing up knowing French, like growing up as someone who is bilingual, because the French culture and the French music, we really did adopt it as our own. as a second culture. So although I am not French, ever since I was 3, I've had a connection to French music and a French culture. So it really does, it helps when you're singing French music, because it's not just knowing the meanings to the words, it's understanding the meanings to the words. So that's why I love singing in French, because it's more than just words that you've translated. It's deeper meanings that you actually know and can understand.
And, why don't you tell the listeners, tell the viewers about your musical journey? I mean, it's been, that you've made this your whole life. And, can you tell us about your experience singing, especially?
Sure. Well, I started singing here. They have the same thing in Ontario, the Kiwanis music festivals. So when I was 6, I went and started going in these music festivals, and I won certificates, and I was terrible at sports. So this was my thing. So I did these music festivals and won them all the way up through high school. And then after that, there was no musical theater program at that point, or it was classical music if you wanted to study music. So I did an opera degree here in Edmonton, and then an opera degree in University of Western Ontario, then one in Toronto, then another one in New York, and then another one in New York. And then the economy crashed, and I thought, opera is great, but you know what else is great? Historical music that nobody knows. So a lot of what I do now are these popular songs from the 1910s, the 1920s, up to the 1940s that people just they're lost music. So I research them, I perform them, and I've gone all over the world. I've sung at Lincoln Center, New York. I've done solo concerts of these music at Royal Albert Hall in London, and then like further afield, such as Tajikistan or Morocco. Well, Morocco's not that far, but Tajikistan, China several times, and everywhere. Sudan, Chad. I performed these songs all over the world, and that's been my life for the last decade. Really, is almost nonstop traveling to these different countries to present this music and to represent Canada, because not only are there lost songs from America and Britain, but there are some really wonderful songs from Canada, English and French, that people just don't know. And that's what I do.
And I mean, it's amazing. I think if you just listed all the countries that you've performed in, we might fill the whole segment. But we'll go on. I just want to ask you, because you were talking about the historical songs that nobody knows, and you've sort of built a career. Not just doing these songs in concert form, but you've been doing them in a theatrical form with shows that you've performed all over the world.
In a way, it is a lot easier to sell a theatrical show with music, because you're not just saying, hi, you don't know me, you should totally pay me to come sing these songs you've never heard of. But you sell a concept. So, I mean, when I started with this historical music, I started with knitting songs. So World War I and World War II knitting songs about knitting, couple crochet, but mostly knitting. And so, I mean, there are knitting guilds all over the world. There are knitting festivals all over the world. So it fills a niche. So I look for music that fill a niche. This summer, I was supposed to tour the lost songs of American Prohibition. So there are lots of Prohibition era songs that people sing. However, these are songs that specifically reference things that happened during Prohibition, written in Prohibition. Although we did have that in Canada too. These are mostly American songs, but again, they're lost music. A lot of them haven't been sung for 100 years, and it's the 100th anniversary of Prohibition. So that was going to be my summer. Again, lost music. It's a niche that no one else has filled. And please don't fill it, because it's mine.
So, how did you get started in turning, what are these collections of songs into theatrical shows? I mean, I know you've done a knitting show. I know you've done one on Edith Piaf and Jacques Brel. You've also done one on, opera for kids with puppets. How do you get these ideas, and how do you sort of develop them into these different avenues for each show?
Good question. Well, it started with Irving Berlin, because when you sing classical music, you're always allowed one sort of quasi-classical song in a recital. That's okay if you sing it in a classical way. So I always sang this Irving Berlin song called "If You Don't Want My Peaches, You Better Stop Shaking My Tree," which means exactly what you think that means. Not about actual peaches or an actual tree. And I thought, wow, this is one naughty song from 1916. And so then I looked up and I found that Irving Berlin had written a ton of double entendre songs when he was just a kid, basically. So it started with an Irving Berlin show, and then it moved on from there. it seemed like a good idea, to be honest. Opera, I love singing opera, but this is so much more fun. And you meet so many, you meet a larger, I hang out with circus people. Like, I'll go to a festival, I'll be hanging out with an acrobat and a poet and a clown. And in opera, everyone's just like, oh, we sing opera, right? But this is just, I've met people who can do amazing things that I could never do. And, or a theremin player. So it's just, it really does expand your performance horizons to do something like this. So, yeah, I wrote a show, it worked for me. I wrote another show, it worked. The opera, there are not a lot of shows. When people do opera outreach for kids, they really often, because I've done it as an opera singer, and they talk down to kids. So I thought, presenting a show with opera for kids, but, also making it enjoyable for adults, it works. Who knew? So, yeah, I don't remember the question now, but yeah, but it started with the one Irving Berlin song, thinking, could there be others? And then there are. And then another show was a Vera Lynn show, because she died a couple days ago, and she was turning 100 3 years ago. And I thought, a friend of mine, actually, Maya, we were drinking gin in her living room, and I thought, I need a new show. And she's like, how about Vera Lynn? She's turning 100. So, I mean, that made that show happen pretty much.
So, in all of your travels, can you share a couple of stories that, really stand out to you as being either great experiences, maybe not so great experiences, just something, really memorable that you think our audience might enjoy hearing about? Sure.
Well, I mean, for a while I toured with an accordion. I can't play accordion very well, but it looks really pretty on stage, and you look really, it looks really pretty. It's a very pretty red, shiny accordion. And whenever I would take it to the States, the TSA employees would have a little fun, and, and they'd make me take it out, or they'd make me play it. And, I can't really play accordion. So every single time I would travel with that thing, it just got really embarrassing. So, I mean, that's not the best travel story, but don't travel with an accordion unless you want to hear the same 3 accordion jokes again and again and again. There was in Cambodia, I did a show in Cambodia, and a prince and a princess of Cambodia came. I mean, there's several, but 2 of them came, and we went out to a jazz club afterwards, and the prince asked the jazz band if I could get up and sing with them, and they weren't going to say no. So it was so much fun, sort of partying with the prince of Cambodia. That, it's the kind of thing that why do you never get to do that? When I was in Chad, I had never ridden a motorcycle because I just hadn't, and I hadn't realized that I don't even know what it's called. The part in the side of the motorcycle gets incredibly hot. So I was bare-legged riding this motorcycle. I slid off, and a lot of my skin stayed on. But where I was performing had no refrigeration. So there was a sandstorm. I was performing outside, and I had this festering burn on my legs, and it was great. I had a great time. I mean, it hurt, but also you're just look, I'm in a sandstorm in Chad. I'm the only Canadian performer who's ever sung there, singing with local artists, with a scar that I will never go away because of my own stupidity. And how much fun is that? Maybe it wasn't as much fun at the time, but it's adventure.
So
that's amazing. I mean, I hope we get to read your autobiography and memoirs someday. I think you have a lot of interesting stories, so that's awesome.
I used to.
Well, you still do.
Well, that's actually something I did want to ask you about, because I think a lot of our performers have all been affected by the COVID pandemic. And, I wonder if you could just tell our audience, because it has really changed the paradigm for so many people. Can you just tell us how your performing life and musical life has changed with the COVID pandemic?
I would love to. So I spent January and February in Australia, and I hadn't really, we had kind of heard of COVID, but I was at this giant festival in Australia performing 6 different shows, and none of us paid all that much attention because Australia is really far. I don't know. Should have paid more attention. So after Australia, I was heading to perform in Doha, in United Arab Emirates, in India, and in Nepal. And I made it as far as India when everything was canceled. And I just had to drop, and then England after. I had to drop all the tickets. I got back to Canada 2 days before everyone closed their borders. But I found it very interesting. I mean, when I was in India when things were sort of starting with COVID, and people were very careful. I mean, I got back to Canada, no one was wearing masks. There were crowds everywhere the day I got back, and I was like, wow. I felt a lot safer traveling overseas than I did getting back. And then the country closed down and people started staying home. But so yeah, I've had so many shows canceled, so many shows. I had 110 shows coming up in 6 countries and across Canada, and it's all been canceled. My next gig is January back in Australia, if it happens. But luckily, I was supposed to sing in Panama for Canada Day, and the government there, the Canadian government, had already had the money, like they had gotten the funds to pay me to sing. So instead, they were kind enough. I owe them so much for this. They repurposed the money to let me record the music for the concert. So I've actually spent the last 3 weeks recording in my closet the concert that I would have sung had I been there. And then they're putting it online starting tomorrow. So that they did give me a bit of a career. But apart from that, I'm writing a new show that I will tour at some point. I'm writing a book about Deanna Durbin, the 1930s and 40s Winnipeg-born Hollywood star, because I do tour a show of her music, and there is no biography about her life. But otherwise, that's, just we're all working on projects, right? And hoping things will start up again.
All right. So can you tell us a little bit about the song that you're going to perform next?
Sure. It's a French-Canadian song. It was written by Jacques Blanchet, and it's called La Ciel se marie avec le Merey. It's he wrote over 300 songs in his career, and this is the only song people remember. He near the end of his life, he would say quite a few times, like, "You guys, I did write other songs." But this song catapulted him to superstardom in French Canada, and it's just a beautiful song, and it's a metaphor. It's about people getting married, but it's about the sky marrying the sea, basically, and it's one of my favorite French Canadian songs. So that's the song.
Thank you so much. It's Melanie Gall. You can find her at melaniegall.com, and you can find her Instagram at Melanie Presents. Thank you so much for joining us, Melanie.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
La mer a mis sa robe verte et le ciel bleu, son œillet blanc. Elle a voulu être coquette pour dire au ciel en s'éveillant: n'oublie pas mon cœur, ni la fleur, ni le jonc. N'oublie pas surtout que demain nous nous marierons. Les pieds dans les sables des dunes, je les ai vus qui s'embrassaient à l'ombre des champs, des lagunes, et puis la mer qui lui disait: n'oublie pas mon cœur, ni la fleur, ni le jonc. N'oublie pas mon cœur, ni la fleur, ni le jonc. N'oublie pas surtout que demain nous nous marierons. Une fleur à la boutonnière, le lendemain se marierait. Le ciel embrasse la mer, fière d'avoir du soleil en bouquet. Il y avait le fleur et la fleur et le jonc. Il y avait le cœur et la fleur et le jonc. Chaque jour depuis, mille fois revisité de chansons.
Donation to our GoFundMe page, listed, I believe, above my head in this screen you're seeing right now. So any amount is appreciated, and thank you so much for supporting artists at this time. So moving on to our next exciting performance. Our next performer for today is Saswati Sahoo. Saswati Sahoo is by profession an IT software engineer and is trained in Odissi dance from the age of 5 years under Guru Sri Bharat Charan Giri in the late Guru Deva Prasad Das Ji's Gharana of Odissi dance. Being a Doordarshan, National Television of India, child artist for Odissi dance as well as a TV host, she has performed in many dance festivals across various states of India. Upon moving to Toronto, she has performed at events like the Toronto International Dance Festival, the Collective Shivratri event, Toronto Diversity Festivals, and many others. She has also been noted for choreography in folk dances from Orissa. Her aim is to bring awareness about Odissi dance of the late Guru Deva Prasad Das Ji's style through simple Odissi choreography as shown in her YouTube channel, Nritya Sash Studio. She also teaches classes and can be contacted regarding lessons. So here is Saswati. So that was the beautiful Saswati, whom we're very excited to have with us today. So Saswati, welcome, and thank you so much for this beautiful contemporary performance. Could you tell us and our audience a little bit about this beautiful contemporary Odia dance that you just performed?
First of all, thanks a lot to Ensemble Topaz to give me this opportunity to perform. And about this contemporary performance, I had a wish, like I want to try something new and different on Odia music. So I tried this music. This choreography was done by one of my very close friend, who is very excellent in contemporary. But being a pure Odissi dancer and never tried any Western dancer, so I tried this Odissi, that contemporary dance, and coming out of my comfort zone.
Amazing. It was absolutely beautiful. So, Saswati, you are a classical Odissi dancer. Can you tell
Yes.
us a little bit about how you started this journey of classical Indian Odissi dance and how you started this and how you've continued this work at this point in your life and in your dance career? So take us a little bit through your journey.
Sure. I started Odissi dance at the age of 5 or 6, like very young age, under Guru Bharatcharan Giri. And then, with my interest, I gave the audition for Doordarshan, like the TV channel we have, national TV channel in India. So I was a child artist, anchor, and Odissi dancer. So from very young age, I started performing with very senior dance teachers because I was little tall in my childhood days. So I was considered as the senior dancer. So I have performed in many dance festivals across India in many state level performances. And in Doordarshan also, I have performed many programs, and then anchoring also I have done many children programs. And then due to some health issues I had, then I had to take a break. But the break continued to be a very longer than expected, and I couldn't continue my dance journey after that. Then slowly after moving to Toronto, I went to one Odia community. Like we have two communities here in Toronto, in Canada. So I performed and then I choreographed for a few non-trained dancer, like who have never get got any training in dance. So I choreographed one dance, like one Sambalpuri, Odia Sambalpuri folk dance, which you would be watching my next performance. And from that, I restarted my dance journey. So with that, I can say Toronto is the place from where I restarted my dance journey again. And then I started with my Odissi dance, then my solo choreographies, then group choreographies. Then one choreography I have done, which has Odia music, Hindi music, and English music. So with that, this is how is my journey.
That's absolutely amazing, and it's so inspiring to hear about this journey and all the different I guess all the different and unexpected turns in this journey. So that's
Yes.
very, very inspiring. Thank you so much for sharing this journey with us. And I mean, I saw you, I think, 2 years ago or maybe last year at Toronto
Last year,
International
yeah.
Dance Festival, and you were
Right.
doing classical Odissi dance there. I believe you were doing
Yes,
Shiva
yes.
Mangalacharan, very
Yes.
traditional item of Odissi dance, choreography
Yes.
of the late Guru Sri Deva Prasad Das ji. And
Right,
it's
right.
just so inspiring to see this and also to see all the variety of work that you're now working with. And so tell us what you have, what your upcoming events are right now or your upcoming online projects, seeing as we're all in social distancing right now. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. I have some plans of creating some my own choreography in Odissi in simple steps, so that the normal audience, which don't who don't have the knowledge of more classical dances, by watching the performance, they can understand the simple what the person is trying to do with a simple choreography. I have few upcoming online performance for few dance festivals. One is Paripurna, the Naika Dance Festival of Guru Devaprasad Das Foundation. And I have planned for a few choreography for Odia song, and few I am planning for some renowned and famous song to do the choreography in Odissi, to just break down the common thing like, okay, Odissi is very restricted, but I want to try and show to the people like with Odissi also we can try a very simple choreography and show to the audience, and people can enjoy and love it.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And if you could just tell us a little bit about this next dance that our audience will be watching, your folk dance.
Sure. The next performance I would be performing is a Sambalpuri folk dance. It's a very famous, worldwide famous folk dance where we show the tradition and culture of Western Odisha, and the lyrics and the music. It's mainly for the group performances, but due to social distancing now we can't perform any group performances. So it's a solo choreography. The choreography is done by me, and the songs that I have used are very famous Dalkhai song and Rasar Kelibo. So you would be watching the next performance, Sambalpuri folk dance.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We look forward.
Thank you so much, Saswati. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're enjoying our show today, please support the artist by going to the GoFundMe campaign. You can go to the link right above Paromita's head, or just go to GoFundMe.com and search Global Rhythms Live, and you'll find our fundraiser. And the link is also available on the Facebook page and on the YouTube channel for this event. And any amount is appreciated. And thank you so much for supporting our professional artists at this time.
Thank you all, and thank you, Saswati. And with that, we move to our next performance of today, our final performance today, which is by Ensemble Topaz co-artistic director Mike Anklewicz, who's sitting here next to me. So Mike Anklewicz is a Toronto-based musician and educator specializing in saxophone, clarinet, and woodwinds. And having studied classical music on the saxophone, he also performs jazz, klezmer, rock, R&B, Balkan, and Indian music, and is one of the few musicians in North America to play the algoza, a rare double flute from the Thar Desert region between India and Pakistan. He founded Klez Factor in 2004, composing a fusion of Eastern European Jewish traditional music with jazz, rock, Balkan, and other musical styles, garnering airplay on radio and television on 4 continents with their 3 albums. As musical director for Ensemble Topaz, he has guided the band and created arrangements for music that has had its source in Iran, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Tajikistan, and India, collaborating with many musicians all over the world and recording with the assistance of an Ontario Arts Council music recording grant in 2019. He also holds a PhD in ethnomusicology from York University and teaches saxophone at the Royal Conservatory of Music here in Toronto. So here's Mike. So welcome back. Mike, thank you for playing that great song. Can you tell us a little bit about that song?
Sure. I've heard it with a couple of names. The first sort of version of that song that I've heard goes back to like the late 1900s. 19 aughts or early 19 teens, before World War One, and a recording from Europe by a clarinetist who's a little bit mysterious. We know his name is, we call him Belf, but his name is V. Belufa. And he recorded with bands. They called it his Romanian orchestra, but we think he's actually Polish. But he performed this sort of southern Polish repertoire that we also start to see later on by the clarinetists who were born in Europe and then moved to the United States. And one particular clarinetist who had this song in his repertoire and recorded it in New York in the early 1920s was Dave Terrace, who is considered, the master clarinetist, one of two real, prominent clarinetists in the 20s and 30s in New York. And so I think I call it Mein Taira Odessa, which is the name that Dave Terrace used to record it, but it's from a genre called a hora, which is a 3/8 or 3/4 dance in that 1-2-3 1-2-3 type of rhythm, and it's just a beautiful tune that I've enjoyed playing for many years now.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And this is traditional klezmer, the genre? Wow, wonderful. Well, thank you so much.
Traditional, but with a less traditional arrangement, with
Yes.
A few saxophones accompanying the clarinet.
With 4 mics on the screen. Great. Well, thank you so much, Mike. And thank you all for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed today's edition of Global Rhythms Live World Music and Dance Digital Concert, streamed from the living rooms of our artists and Studio Topaz here in our living room. Please support our artists by visiting the GoFundMe page and making a donation. This is divided between all the artists you've seen today. In the coming weeks, we will continue to feature artists from across the world performing traditional and innovative artistic material. Please stay updated by following our Facebook page as well as Instagram at Ensemble Topaz, where you will also find links to the wonderful artists who joined us today. We thank you for joining us in our journey today and hope you will join us in the future. Thank you so much.